What's going on, guys? ChaseWins.com, Venture Sports Consulting. The end of another week, Sunday, August the 30th, 2020. As crazy and fucked up as 2020 has been in every sense of the word, still hard to believe that another month has come and gone. We are getting ready to kick off September. Getting ready to kick off football, which technically started this weekend, but it was a bunch of no-name teams, very small teams, games that didn't mean anything, games with zero value whatsoever. But this coming week, we are actually starting football. Thursday actually brings a pretty decent slate of action, stemming all the way through next weekend. We've got the NFL kicking off soon, so I've been getting a ton of requests, email, Twitter, of when I was going to release football packages for the year. And people were asking what the differences in the football packages are going to be, because obviously we know that some things are going to be different in football this year. Obviously, in college football, it's looking like the Big Ten and the Pac 12 aren't going to play. We know that some very small schools, in the regards to sports, like UConn and some schools like that, are not going to be playing football altogether. Things could change. It wouldn't surprise me if the Big Ten figured out a way to play. Pac 12 probably would. That would surprise me. But even without those two programs, we're still going to have the ACC. We're still going to have the SEC. We're still going to have the Big 12. We're still going to have plenty of the smaller conferences go. And a lot of these places are going to have fans in the stands. Not going to be by large majority. Most of them are going to be 25% or less. 25% is the highest number that I've seen. And I think the lowest number that I've seen was 19% or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, there's going to be fans there. There's going to be games being played. There's still going to be the same type of schedule. Still going to be 13-week regular season schedules going on. So in that regard, nothing's going to change. It's not going to be like Major League Baseball, where they're going to go from 162 regular season games to 60. It's not going to be like that. So you're not going to have to worry about that. Now, usually, in the NFL, same goes. The NFL is going to be as normal. Same game, same schedule. Nothing's going to be changing except for the fact of there's not going to be a packed out stadium every week. And again, for all we know, that could change in the latter part of the season. I hope that it does. So usually, a football season that we have is $1,500 to $2,000. Usually, it's always $2,000 for an entire season. Last year, I started doing them for $1,500, which was a gift. Last year, we hit over 70% in college football for the season. That is going from week one all the way through the national championship. We've never lost a national championship prediction, and we pick the side and the total every year. Usually do some prop bets along the way. And we played very high volume of games last year. Highest volume I've ever played in college football. We were playing on average 12 games throughout an entire week. Playing games on Thursday nights, Friday nights, all the way into Saturday. And we did fairly high volume of NFL last year, hitting 67.5% or 67 points, like 5% or something in the NFL. So, and then another Super Bowl winner last year. Since we've gone public, never lost a Super Bowl play, total and side. And then we also had 10 prop bets last year, which we won. It was either 8 or 9 of them. So cashed in big there. And then our football packages always include everything from week one all the way through the very end. National championship, Super Bowl, anything. But being that we usually charge $1,500, right before, usually a couple of weeks before they start, I do a special, early bird special, where you can save $500 and get a season for $1,000, or do a combo pass where you're buying both of them at once for $2,000. This year, even though you're still getting the same value, you're still going to get the same type of plays, you're still going to get the same volume of plays. Nothing in that regard is going to be different. There's not going to be a shortened season or anything like that. There's really no need to change prices. But being that the way that 2020 has panned out, I know people are looking to try to save some money. And so we're here to help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half again. Right now, The prices are going to be $1,000 per season. So $9.99 for college football, $9.99 for the NFL. But if you buy it, and this is going to go right now, it's on Sunday. The NFL, I'm going to run through the entire next week. College, I may just run it on Sunday. I may roll it into Monday. I haven't decided that yet. But you can get either one of them you want for $500. $499. They're on the website right now, chasewins.com. You can get either one of them for $500. If you want both, you can buy the combo pass. You will see a link that says football combo pass. That is every premium and daily top play from the start all the way through the very end for $1,000. Now again, that's not going to stay. They are going to be $1,000 a piece. So if you want that discount, you better jump on it now. Also, $500 will get you the remainder of MLB. That's the rest of the regular season, which we're coming up on the halfway point now. You'll get the rest of the regular season and every bit of the postseason through the World Series for $500. Just think about it. If you just went to get those plays week by week and paid $100 a week, you would easily go spend $800 plus, $800 to $1,000. So do the smart thing and save the money if you want to get the best MLB plays in the business. NASCAR, you can get the remainder of it. We're going to kick off the 10-race postseason here. You can get it for $199. So all that's on the website now. If you want a short-term package, 3 days, 7 days, 30 days, all of those are on the website as well, starting at $50. Weird week of sports, boycotts everywhere. I did a video regarding a lot of that. I've been hesitant to post, but it's going to get posted. So stand by for that. I go in depth on what I think about the boycotts, so on and so forth. Some will agree, some will disagree, some are going to boycott me for it for all I know. I don't care. I've got the freedom of speech just like everybody else does, and it's time for somebody to say what some people have already said. I can't stay quiet about it any longer. So I've been very quiet about it. To this point, I'm not going to do it anymore. But being that half the games that we released this week ended up not even playing because of boycotts, I don't know how much we can really go over. Really, the baseball has been back for the past 48 hours, thank God. Had to fight through a lot of double headers. That'll come to an end on Sunday. I think there's one double header on Sunday involving the Yankees, but then other than that, we're back to normal baseball. Thank God. So for the past 2 days, we've been able to actually release plays where they've actually played. And we haven't got to play just one game out of 5 or 2 games out of 5. So let's do a recap of Friday and for Saturday for everything that we had. On Friday, we only released 4 plays. And they were all in the MLB because NHL and NBA were still fighting social justice through boycotts, and I guess that social justice ended, or it was solved because the NBA is back at it once they figured out they weren't going to get paid. Anyway, I dig deep into that on this video that I will be posting either tonight or in the morning. But so we did Friday, we did do 4 plays in Major League Baseball. Started out with the Chicago Cubs versus the Cincinnati Reds, over 8.5 runs. That was an easy win there. That was our 9th MLB total selection that I have released this year, and we have only lost 1 of those plays, and that was actually during one of these halfway boycotted games. So we're 8-1 on the season, best MLB totals records in the business, best MLB in the business by far. Easy win there. Then we jump over to the Milwaukee Brewers on the run line. Easy win there. We did have a play on the Washington Nationals on the money line. A little bit chalky there at $1.50, but an easy win there. And the only loss on Friday night was the Dodgers on the run line, -1.5 at -$1.40 with Dustin May and Mike Minor on the mound. Dustin May has been nothing short of excellent all year. And he had a rough go of it on Friday. So that was our only loss. So we went 3-1 on Friday. Then we jumped into Saturday where we had a big slate of games. We had Major League Baseball. We had NBA, which, to be honest with you, I almost didn't release that NBA play just because the way that the fans are boycotting the NBA right now, I think is very justified, and I hope that it continues so it will make people like LeBron James shut the hell up and stop thinking that he is the spokesperson and the leader of an entire race, demographic, generation, anything. LeBron is now being called out by some of his playing comrades because of the way he talks to them and disrespects them. LeBron's a hypocrite. LeBron's a fraud. He's a clown. But again, I dig further into that in the video that I'll be posting. But anyway, I did have a play that I absolutely loved. It almost made top play. And I almost decided not to release it just because I hope people continue to boycott watching the NBA, because right now the NBA deserves it. Or the NBA doesn't deserve it. I shouldn't say that. The NBA is a good organization, besides the fact that they're in China's back pocket and they're taking tens of millions of dollars of blood money, but yet them want to fight for social injustices. That seems kind of counterintuitive, but nevertheless, when talking about America, the NBA is a good organization. The players are spoon-fed, pampered crybabies who don't have facts on half the useless nonsense that frosts from their useless gums. So anyways, I almost didn't release it, but I said, you know what? This is about money. It's all it's about for the NBA and people like LeBron James, so why should it be any different for myself and my clients? So we had one NBA play, one NHL play going on Saturday. The NHL play, we took the Las Vegas Golden Knights. We took them in regulation minus a half goal at minus $1.25. They won in a 3-0 shutout, so a great game there. Congrats to the Golden Knights. Then in the NBA, we took the Houston Rockets minus 5. I know some people got it at 5.5. It didn't matter. The Houston Rockets beat the brakes off of OKC. And what was weird is I really thought with the return of Westbrook back in the lineup, which he's the most pivotal part of that team, because of not only just his offensive ability, and he's the only player on that team that actually plays some defense. Even Westbrook doesn't play the defense that is real defense. But his defense versus the NBA standard defense, he's a world above them. So even though I'm not a big Westbrook fan, I think he's got a bad attitude half the time. I think he's a little bit too full of himself. The dude is a gamer. I mean, he absolutely goes hard all game long. I mean, he goes harder than anybody in that league, and there's no denying that. So the fact that, truth be told, when I did this line without Westbrook in the equation, I had Houston minus 7. Putting Westbrook back into it, I had him minus 11, and the line really didn't reflect it either way. They had it opening up at 4.5, getting as high as 5.5, which is what it closed at in some places. It's like the odds makers were just assuming that for whatever reason, that, again, it's all this nonsense going on around the NBA that it's become a political convention, not a sport. So thanks for falling asleep at the wheel. We'll gladly take that. The Houston Rockets blew the doors off of OKC, taking us for a sweep in the NHL and in the NBA, and a 2-0 day there. Now let's jump over to the MLB. The only loss on the day that we took there was the Washington Nationals on the money line minus $1.15. Two really bad innings right there set the pace for the Red Sox to bag a much-needed win. Then we get into Game 2 of the doubleheader involving the Houston Astros. This one right here was the redemption game for Zach Greinke after a poor start last time. No, I shouldn't say a poor start. He just got tagged by a great team. But Frankie Montas was going to be no way he was going to be able to silence the bats of the Astros. And Greinke knows how to silence the bats, even though they were playing a decent team. So I watched a little over half of their game one, very close, realized that the Astros, as each inning passed, they were getting more comfortable at the plate, getting into more of a rhythm. And then when Greinke going up, it was just going to be an easy way to transition into another win. And we were getting a beautiful price at minus 130 on the money line. So we took that. That was an easy win. We also had a game that I knew was not going to be popular by any regard. That's why I had a big write-up on it. Took the LA Dodgers minus 145 on the money line against the Texas Rangers and Lance Lynn, who there's no arguing that he has been a top 5 pitcher this year. Off of pure statistics and numbers, he's been in the top 3, was actually in that top spot for a good solid 2.5 weeks. I mean, he was a 5-0 count. His ERA was incredible. His whip was incredible. His home run to walk ratio was incredible. I mean, he was every bit of just pure dominant. But, like in this write-up, I even started the write-up saying this is not going to be a very popular pick. Even though the Dodgers are by far the best team in all of baseball, with no other teams even being a close second, the Dodgers are letting a pitcher toe the rubber in this game that has been less than thrilling, that pitcher being Ross Stripling. Let's face it, by most standards, Ross Stripling has just been plain bad. On the other side of things, Lance Lynn is hitting the mound for the Rangers tonight. Lynn has been money all season. Think about this fact. The Rangers have been one of the worst teams in all of baseball all season. They cannot get out of their own way most nights. But when Lynn takes the hill, he not only pitches a gem, he has put them in great position to snag a win. Lynn is sitting on the year with a 5-0 record, 1.59 ERA, 50 strikeouts, just fantastic numbers. However, if you really dig deep, looking at the teams and the batters he has faced to get those numbers, they're a far cry from the Dodgers. If you dig deep into the advanced stats that Lynn has, which is where it really matters, it is painfully obvious that the numbers that he is boasting at this point cannot be sustained for much longer. He may hold on to them for another game or so. Then what is way up will most certainly come down. So the objective for those wanting to cash in on the downhill slide that is sure to come, find out where he will be most at risk. That's your objective there. Tonight could be better for that exact thing. Not only are the Dodgers coming off of a loss that really shouldn't have happened with May on the mound, the Dodgers are the best hitting team in all of the majors. Even with how good Lance Lynn has been, he isn't so good that the Dodgers couldn't stick him up a flagpole tonight. If Lynn were to pitch the filthy stuff that he has pitched all season long, he could bag another win, especially with a struggling Ross Stripling on the other end of that, towing the hill for the Dodgers. I just think that it is a bit of wishful thinking to assume that those numbers will be able to go on against a team that is as dominant as LA. I'll take my chances gladly with the Dodgers and the very decent price. That was my write-up. I got plenty of backlash for that. People were telling me that obviously I don't care about stats and that the Dodgers have been exposed and Lance Lynn is this and Lance Lynn is that, and he got tagged for 8 hits, and exactly what I said would happen happened. So we had a win there. So we didn't sweep the board in Major League Baseball, but we did go 2-1, and then we did sweep in the NHL and the NBA. Going 4-1 on the day after a 3-1 day on Friday. So we've had a great weekend thus far. We're going to close it out on Sunday. NASCAR did go on Saturday. I don't know his complete record yet, so we'll do a recap for that on Monday's video. I do know he did win his top play. His other 2 head-to-heads, I do not know. Again, I don't look into this stuff. I get the list just like it's posted. I wager them, and I haven't even looked at my MyBookie account to see what's happened yet. So I don't want to get anyone's hopes up or say anything that's not true. So I'll look into that, and then for Monday's video, we'll do a NASCAR recap. So we'll do that. Let's get on a free play. Let's close the week out strong. Make sure you jump on one of those packages. If you want to get on something short-term to see what I'm all about, feel free to do so. If you've been with me before, you already know. Before the football seasons go up to normal price, make sure you take advantage of the discount, because once it's gone, it's gone. And do not sleep on this MLB discount. Do not wait 2 weeks and then, keep buying week packages and then realize that the discount doesn't mean as much anymore. Get it while it is giving you a huge bang for your buck. All right, let's jump on. Let me double check a line here because I haven't even had a chance to bet it yet. Give me a second. Okay, yep, here we go. Now, I'm going to take this game, but I'm going to tell you something that I want you guys to pay very close attention to. I'm going to take the Minnesota Twins on the run line tomorrow. The line's too high. The line should not be Minnesota minus 215. I did the numbers earlier, and again, I didn't know the line was going to be 215, but my money line would have been minus 175 with a run line of right at $1.20. They've got it at 215 with a run line of minus $1.30. I'm going to gladly take that $1.30. The $1.30 and $1.20, so we're right on pace there. The money line's way too high. What they're doing here is they're going off of the fact that Casey Mize had a terrible first his debut start. That's not uncommon for someone who has never played in a major league game before. Not to mention, look who Casey Mize had to play. They weren't a shabby lineup by any means. Here's the thing. If you look at Casey Mize, you look at his career up to this point through college, through, his AAU days, and then especially his farm league days, he has all of the attributes of a young Justin Verlander. If he stays healthy, he could be the spitting image of Verlander. As successful, I doubt it because he doesn't throw near as hard and he doesn't have as diverse of a pitching wallet, I guess you could say. The arsenal is just bigger for Verlander of what he's an expert at. But he's very similar to Verlander. But he hasn't figured out how to navigate through a major league lineup yet. Hell, he's only gone through a lineup one time and he got shelled. Or twice. Excuse me, he went through the lineup twice. Now you have to go in and face a Minnesota team that is still, to this point, the team to beat in the AL Central. And again, I've already said Cleveland's not as good of a hitting team, but because of their pitching, they're right up there with them. And the Red Sox are nipping at both, or the White Sox are nipping at both of their heels. Minnesota's still the team to beat. They're still the most powerful right now, based on the numbers. They still have the best batter in all of baseball, and Nelson Cruz leading the charge here and leading everything off. Detroit has gone out there and won 2 or 3 straight games against Minnesota. This isn't the first time that they've gone out there and put Minnesota in their place, surprisingly. But the bullpen for Detroit has one good bright spot that pitched outstanding on Saturday. First game Saturday. So not only did they do that well, Minnesota has swung the bat very poorly. And by poorly, I don't mean they've actually swung the bat poorly. It's just been the lack of swinging. Now they get to go out there and face a rookie who doesn't look like what we know he's going to be. Casey Mize, until Detroit pisses him away like they do everybody else, saying that they don't. Let's say that they change the way they do things and they finally don't do that. He'll be the face of that organization for a long time to come. He is going to be a great Major League Baseball pitcher. Remember who told you that. He will most certainly be an all-star pitcher. It's not going to be this year, though. Hell, it may not be next year. I think he's going to get tagged pretty hard again because Minnesota is going to come out aggressive just because of the losses anyway. Then the fact they know they're getting a rookie who he hasn't even found his identity yet. He doesn't know what to do. He hasn't been able to truly do his own internal scouting reports of anyone. And having to do it to the likes of a Nelson Cruz and the people backing him up, that's not a recipe for success. They are going to be aggressive again because of the losses they've taken. They're going to leave Detroit on a high note. The fact they get a rookie who doesn't know what he's doing yet, they're going to go for him even harder. So I think Minnesota's going to strike early and often. Now, Minnesota, on the other hand, they get to put in old Kansas. Best pitcher, well, you could say Dobnik's actually been the best pitcher for Minnesota this year because Odorizzi hasn't been better than Dobnik. But Maeda has been Maeda, however you prefer to pronounce it. But Kenta Maeda has been absolutely money this year. Throwing absolute filth down over the plate. And Detroit, they can't hang with him. Again, if they go out there and swing for the hills like they have the last 2 days, they may have a little more success with him than they should. But that's fine. Because, again, you're going to have to try to play catch-up with one of the better American League hitting teams getting to go out there and rock a rookie. A pissed-off team at that. Nelson Cruz not having the greatest weekend. This one right here is easy. It's going to take, again, I've said this in quite a few situations this year, where it's not about one team beating the other, it's about a team beating themselves. Here's one of those situations. Minnesota is going to win on Sunday by multiple runs, and I think it's 3+, or they lose outright. And it won't be because Detroit beat them, even though Detroit will have beat them. It'll be Minnesota beating themselves. Maeda having a bad game that was unexpected. Him laying wet noodles over the plate that Detroit was able to act on. Committing fielding errors that allowed extra bases or potential runs. And just playing careless. It's happened in games this year. It'll happen in more games this year. If anybody watches baseball on any given night, just go through and look at the stats after the game's over. You have at least one of those games happen every single day, where a team just went in, big-headed and careless, and it bit him in the ass. That could happen on Sunday. It's baseball. But if Minnesota comes to play, I don't care how much Detroit comes to play. Minnesota wins by 3+ runs because I think we'll get 6 innings out of Maeda, maybe even more depending on how quickly he's getting out of there. What we got to hope for is because his strikeout ratio is great, you want to kind of hope for him to have more ground balls or pop outs. That way his pitch count stays down. They don't have to go to the bullpen near as often. Both teams were smart at the beginning of this series by leaning on their bullpens to be able to come into the end of the week with a pitcher they trust. Detroit's putting their trust in Casey Miles because they know what he's going to be. They have to let the chains off and let him do it and figure it out the hard way. Maeda's proven himself to be a stud in the back pocket of the Minnesota Twins. So both teams made a very smart decision to be able to lean on the bullpen early in the series, to not have to lean on them at the end of it. But I think that Detroit's going to have to lean on it a bit more than Minnesota. But Detroit's also, their pitching, their management staff isn't so stupid to say, well, if we're down by 8 runs in the 7th inning, we're not going to burn through an arm every 3 batters to try and come back. What's going to be impossible, especially with the deepest and most difficult portion of Minnesota's bullpen, which will be warmed up and ready to go to take over when Kenta has to come out on Sunday. So all around, it's just a bad recipe for Detroit. And again, Minnesota's going to have to beat themselves. And if they do that, we take the loss and we move on. I just don't see it happening. Maybe if they had been, if they had already won the series, but them coming in, even though the series is lost, they can't win the series, but they're going to go out on a high note and clock one more win against a team that has no business beating them on any given night anyway. So give me the Minnesota Twins. Give them to me on the run line at $1.30. I do think that line will potentially go up, so make sure you get it sooner rather than later. More videos coming on Sunday. We got a big week ahead. Like I said, make sure you get on any of the specials. I've got a huge announcement involving some text messaging stuff coming out this coming week. We Are Sports is doing their official foundation launch this week. We've got 3 episodes of Outfielders Anonymous, all coming in the next week. So it's a big week, and we got a ton of stuff going on. I love all you guys more than anything in the world. The true ones, not the degenerate gamblers. The degenerate gamblers that just want to come in and piss if you lose one day out of 14 like they did with me, that's fine. 13 straight winning days for people that bought a month package. And on day 14 where we lost, they talk shit. It never ceases to amaze me. And I tell them straight up to their face, you're not the client that I want. I want real investors, serious people, and people that have a functioning human brain, not the degenerate gamblers that think that losing's not allowed to happen. Because it's going to happen to anybody and everybody. I love you guys. You make this all worthwhile, and I'll see you back for Monday and another huge week. Love you guys.